Hello children, you are welcome to this segment of the program The Classroom in Your Home. It is mathematics time, and that means it is time to have some fun. I am Uncle Agbaje. Today in mathematics, we will continue our work on quadrilaterals. But first, we will begin, as is our usual practice, with correction to the previous homework. In the last lesson, you were asked to write two properties for each of the following quadrilaterals. You were taught about rhombuses, parallelograms, rectangle, and the square. So let's take a look at the properties of each. A rhombus has all four sides equal, and the opposite sides are parallel. The opposite angles are also equal. That is, this angle is equal to this angle, and this is equal to this. Now it has two lines of symmetry, one running along this diagonal and the other one. So the lines of symmetry joins the two opposite angles. And finally, the diagonals bisect each other. I believe you were at least able to remember two of these. All sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel. Good job, you then. Now this is a parallelogram. With a parallelogram, the opposite sides are equal. All sides are not equal, just opposite sides are equal. The opposite angles are also equal, and it has no line of symmetry, as we were able to demonstrate in our last lesson. Now the diagonals also bisect each other. Indeed, a rhombus is a special type of parallelogram. Now this is a rectangle. It's also a special type of parallelogram. Opposite sides are parallel and they are also equal. This side on top is going in the same direction with this side, the side below. That means they are parallel. They are also equal. The side on the left is also equal to the side on the right. That means opposite sides are equal. They are also parallel. All the angles are 90 degrees, as you can see the boxes in the corner. And it has two lines of symmetry, one running down the middle from up to down and one from left to right. And the diagonals also bisect each other. I believe you were able to remember that at least opposite sides are equal and it has four right angles. Now this is square. You should remember that the square has all four sides equal. That's the first thing you should remember. And all the angles are also right angles. Now the other thing about a square is that it has four lines of symmetry. We were able to demonstrate that in the last class. And the diagonals divide each other into two equal parts. So you believe that you were able to write at least two of these. And for that, I'm going to celebrate you with a chair. Now to the lesson objectives for today. What do we want to achieve at the end of this lesson? Well, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify what we call a trapezium. You should also be able to state the properties of that trapezium. You should be able to recognize it and state the properties. And finally, you should be able to count triangles and quadrilaterals in given pictures. We've taught you about triangles. Now we've taught you about quadrilaterals. You should be able to identify them, count them. Let's just go straight into the topic of the day. Now I want you to study this shape. Is it a quadrilateral? And these are some questions that will help you to answer that. How many sides does it have? Count. How many angles does it have? Count. This is still the same shape. Are the opposite sides parallel? Check out the opposite sides. This side is opposite to that side, and the one on top is opposite to the one below. Are they parallel to each other? Are the opposite angles equal? By that we mean that is this angle equal to this angle? And is this angle equal to this angle? Just take a wild guess. Is it a type of parallelogram? Remember that we studied parallelograms in the last class. And parallelograms are shapes that have the opposite sides to be parallel. So would you classify this as a parallelogram? Well, let's see about answering those questions. Do you know the name of this shape? Well, some of you are already saying it's a trapezium. How do you know it's a trapezium? Have you been taught about trapeziums before? Well, this shape is indeed a trapezium. Sometimes we call it a trapezoid, trapezium, or trapezoid. You will see any of these in your textbooks. Both are correct. It is indeed a quadrilateral because it has four sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four-sided shapes are quadrilaterals. It also has four angles. As you can see, that makes it a quadrilateral. But all its opposite sides are not parallel. I mean, this side is not parallel to the one that is opposite. This one is a vertical line, this one is a diagonal line. They are not parallel. But the one on top is parallel to the one below. But because we're able to see that two opposite sides are not parallel, that means it's not a parallelogram. In a parallelogram, opposite sides must be parallel. So, this is not a type of parallelogram. The ones we studied in our last lesson, square, rhombus, rectangle, they are types of parallelogram. But this shape, not a parallelogram, because we have been able to see opposite sides that are not parallel. Let's move on. Only one pair of opposite sides are parallel, like I said earlier, and that's the one on top and the one below. This arrow that you see here means that the sides are parallel. They're going in the same direction. The arrow is pointing to a direction, and they're both going in that direction. That means they are parallel. But you see this and the other one are not parallel, and that is why they do not have arrows. Now, this is also a parallelogram. You can see it's quite different from the first one. See this one. This is also a parallelogram. The basic thing that you need to identify a parallelogram is to see one set of parallel sides and the remaining two sides not parallel. So you can see the one on top here is parallel to the one below, but the one on the left is not parallel to the one on the right. That's how you identify a trapezium. Just one set of